Howdy, folks, and welcome to this top 10. This is special top 10 list. Michelle, how you doing?
Hey, guys, I'm back.
Yeah, Michelle's back. We're not doing any video this time. It's just audio, but we have a special countdown. Go ahead, Michelle. What's going on with your life?
I saw that video that you posted about me.
Yeah.
And I'm free. I'm here.
You're free? You're here?
It's my day off.
Day off, but we don't have a lot of time, and schedules conflict. It's a work day for me, so we're going to squeeze in a video, and this is a video. It's a top 10 countdown. I try to do a top 10 of my favorite RWBY episodes and a top 10 of Michelle's favorite RWBY episodes, but Michelle just hasn't had the time to go through and create her top 10 list. So what we're going to do instead is I'm going to rattle off my top 10.
Okay, no, we're not.
And
you're not winning
this.
Talk
about them.
I'm not winning have added some of mine to the list, but I didn't do a lot.
Right, you didn't finish it. That's what I said. You didn't have time to finish it. Okay. I'm not blaming you. You're busy.
And you're also looking at the webcam that's not even on. Okay. Anyways.
I'm not looking at the webcam. I'm looking at you. There is no webcam. Web camera is not on.
Web camera.
All right, the web camera. That's what webcam stands for, young lady.
Web camera.
The web camera.
Okay, go.
Anyway, so we have top 10 RWBY episodes here for you guys, and these are all through Volume 6, so this is being recorded if you're watching this later, before Volume 7 is aired. You know, the mic is picking up you playing with the table. Anyway. Through Volume 6, my top 10 list. What I did was I got all scientific and stuff, and I put them in a spreadsheet, and I gave them scores based on what did I call my scores? My score, my reaction score. How did I react to it? I think it's what kind of a reaction did it cause me? Is it tears, chills, shock? She's reading my notes. What was the impact to the story and the fandom? I gave it a ranking. My personal opinion. This is all subjective. And then the last one was, how much do I want to rewatch it? How much am I excited to rewatch the episode? So I gave those three scores. I kind of weighed them, and gave them a total score. And then I kind of, just basically sorted, and I got my top 10 list. And it's coming in at number 10, Michelle.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, sorry.
Coming in at number 10 is something from Volume 6, Episode 3. It's entitled The Lost Fable. Remember that is the episode where Jin tells the backstory, and we get all the backstory about Salem and the gods. And remember that episode?
Yes.
I really liked it because we learned, obviously, it kind of goes without saying why it's such a great episode, because it answers so many questions, including what happened to the moon. Why did the moon get chopped up?
And we learned about Ozpin.
And we learned about Ozma and how, that he wasn't always Ozpin.
And they went baby making.
And that they had 4 babies, and
Summer, winter, fall, and spring.
Yeah, I've not heard any of the official show running people deny that is the origin of the maidens. So I'm going to continue to believe that they were the first maidens, and that's because they were born with magic. They have inherited a variation, I think, of Ozma's curse. And so when they die, their essence, part of their spirit goes into another, in this case, a young woman, typically. I guess it doesn't have to be a young woman, but a maiden, to inhabit their body. So I think that is the origin of it. People are saying, but that doesn't make sense. The fairy tale, well, fairy tales are based on some sort of a truth. They're not usually... You can't interpret them literally. So anyway, I love this episode. 6-3. Do you agree with that? Is that a good episode?
Yes, I like that episode too, sir.
Yes, because it had a lot of that cool backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good stuff. All right, moving on. My next episode.
Coming in at number 9.
Is Volume 4, Chapter 10. Kuroyuri. And Kuroyuri, if you recall, was young Ren. And the Ren and Nora backstory. And it was
Is this where they're under the bridge or no?
It was under the bridge one.
Oh, I like that one so much.
Yeah, with Nora under the bridge. Well, not under the bridge, under the house. Yeah. Right? We're young Ren's trying. Yeah, we're kind of flipping through it here, guys. You're seeing. I'm going to show you guys some clips and some images as well as you're watching this, but we're not seeing exactly the same thing you're seeing right now. I'm just kind of flipping through the episodes, and she's watching some scenes with me. So yeah, we get the death of Ren's parents and him saving baby Nora. And then the acoustic version of Boop plays when he goes and gets her the hammer. Remember that?
Yes.
I love it. I mean, Nora's my favorite character, so...
Shocker.
Shocker. So you got to know that this is going to be pretty high up on my list. Aw.
I like that.
I like it too. Anyway, moving on.
Coming in at number 8.
Coming in at number 8. We have Volume 3, Chapter 9. It's PvP, Michelle. It's the death of Penny. Pyrrha versus Penny.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, but it's the beginning of the end of the idealistic, fun, happy, nothing ever bad happened show.
Penny was my favorite.
Before this, you could have RWBY Chibi. After this,
Jesus.
After this, you cannot have RWBY Chibi. Right? Nothing bad ever happened.
Nope, it never happened.
So PvP is coming in at number 8 for me. Because it starts the end.
Yeah. But I didn't like Penny dying.
Yeah, and Cinder announcing her plans too is a big part of it. So we finally, get her big announcement over the broadcast. Takes over the airwaves. All right, moving on.
Coming in at number 7.
Coming in at number 7. Volume 3, Chapter 3. It's Brawl in the Family. The introduction of Winter and a big fun battle between Winter and Crow. Where they face off, remember this? Where we get to for the first time, really introduced to Drunkle Crow.
Uncle Crow.
Drunkle Crow and
you mean Father Crow? Sorry.
Well, yeah, we happen to have that belief, but we won't drill that into people. Oh, yeah, we're watching the dove fight. Yeah, just cool stuff, Michelle. I really enjoyed this. Because, it introduced 2 really cool characters. We haven't seen enough of Winter, though. Right?
No.
Because after this, a couple of episodes from now, we don't...
She helps train Wise.
Yeah, but that's in a character short.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's in a character short. So we haven't actually seen her in the show. I predict we'll see her in Volume 7. Because they're in Atlas now. Right?
Yes.
So she's probably going to make an appearance again. And we'll probably get maybe a little more interaction with her and Crow with the new voice actor.
Ugh, I'm going to hate it.
I know.
I'm not going to like it.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, so that's my 7 choice. It's Brawl in the Family. Number 6,
Coming
Michelle.
in at number 6.
Coming in at number 6. Volume 5, Chapter 13. It's called Downfall. It's one of the near last episodes. And it has my favorite rewatchable scene of all time. And I'm a Nora fan.
Ugh.
It's the whole Nora gets charged by Hazel. And I don't need him to hurt. I just need him to go down. I love that scene so much. It's got that, but it's also got some great interactions. Obviously, the battle. We get the revival of Weiss. The revelation of Jean's semblance in this episode. We get Blake and Adam, their battle. Yeah, we get the Blake reunion. Very brief reunion from a little bit of a distance with the other girls. And we get the battle, the big maiden battle between spring and fall. Between
Cinderblock
bitch and Raven, Mother of the Year Raven. And we think
Ruby's mom. What?
In the end of this episode, Cinder's dead. And you were cheering. You were like, yes.
I don't think she's dead.
Well, we know she's not dead. She comes back in Volume 6. So anyway, and we get the revelation of what the, of where the artifact is. And it ends with, of course, Yang coming down in the superhero pose.
With no arm.
One arm to confront her mother. So it's a really cool episode. I really enjoyed that one. That's Downfall.
Alrighty, and coming in at number 5.
Coming in at number 5 is Volume 5, Chapter 6. And it's entitled Known by Its Song. And I love this one for a number of reasons. One, because we get another version of the story. This is before Volume 6, mind you. But we get another version of the story that Crow tells the Team Juniper. This is Raven telling the story to Yang and to Weiss. Remember? And it also has the great bits with Crow searching for Huntsman and realizing that they're all gone. But we get the wonderful discussion here between Mother of the Year and her daughter's friend. And we get the evidence that she shows that she can also turn into a bird. Because before this time, we only kind of speculated it in the show. We only kind of speculated that maybe that's the case because we see ravens every once in a while around watching things.
Why do I feel like she looks a lot more like RWBY than she does? Yeah.
Well, that's the color scheme. That's the hair color and the color scheme of her dress, right? The face, the model, I'm pretty sure they said the model is Yang's model. It's the same face. It's just red eyes and black hair. Or it's darn close if it's not exactly the same. So she does look like Yang, just with black hair. So Yang obviously inherited the hair color from her father. Her father is Tai Yang. Don't worry about that.
Well, yeah.
and the face from her mother. Definitely. But we get that whole revelation, and it ends, which is one of the things I love about it a lot. It ends with the sister reunion, or cousin reunion, if you will.
Oh God.
Of RWBY and Yang. And RWBY dropping the dishes and Yang rushing to embrace her and finally telling her that she loves her. Because she didn't tell her at the end of Volume 3.
Oh.
It's really sweet stuff. Very touching stuff.
Touching.
So I really like that one.
Coming in at number 4.
Coming in at number 4, we have Volume 4, Chapter 12. Yeah, I know.
No, I just want to point something out, but you can...
What were you looking at? What were you pointing at?
You spelled RWBY wrong in this, but you know.
Oh, I spelled RWBY wrong? Where did I spell RWBY wrong? In my notes. She's pointing something out in my notes.
Reunion of RWBY, Yang, and Weiss.
Yeah, she's Rube. That's a nickname for her. I call her Rube.
Ew, that's disgusting.
All right, so RWBY, Yang, and Weiss. But anyway, next one, number 4, Volume 4, Chapter 12, No Safe Haven. This is the finale to Volume 4. And I love it because of the battle with the Knuckleavy.
Who?
The scary horse monster, this guy.
Ew.
Right? We got some great scenes in here. We get the beautiful, funny Nora stop looking up the skirt scene, you know. We get Nora pushing Ren back underneath that. You said you loved underneath the building, and he pushes her back. She pushes him back underneath, and she slaps him. Remember, and says, "I'm not going to let you kill yourself." This bit right here that we're showing right now.
Oh, little baby Nora.
And he remembers baby Nora, and then they finally defeat, and Ren gets his final revenge, you know, for the death of his town and his parents, and kills the thing, and it ends with everybody, you know, Crow finally being safe in Haven, and RWBY writing the letter explaining to Yang all the cool things, and we get to see what's happening with Weiss. She's boarding the ship, and Yang, and they're setting up the next season, right? The next volume. I really dig it. I dig it. And it ends with that great after-credit scene, which we then see in Volume 5 of Oscar.
Baby
Oscar. Of Oscar talking to Crow for the first time, and Crow then realizing that Ozpin has returned, or Ozma has returned, as we know now from Volume 6. All right, Michelle.
Coming in at number 3.
Coming in at number 3, we have another Volume 5 episode. Volume 5, Chapter 4. A lot of people might wonder why Volume 5, Chapter 4 is such a cool episode for me. It's a cool episode for me for a couple of reasons. One, it has, if you saw my top fights of RWBY that I released, the video I released, it has my number 1 fight scene. My number 1 fight scene is the Yang scene with the bandits. I just love it so much at the beginning of this. And that scene I rewatch all the time. I can definitely rewatch it. But it also has the first of the RWBY girls reunions, right? It has Yang confronting her mother back at the bandit camp. It has Yang and Weiss reunion, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole, you kidnapped her scene with her mother. And then it sets up the next episode that we talked about earlier, which was on my list, where Raven gives the lowdown of what's going on to the two of the girls. But it also has bits with Oscar. And we learn a little bit more about where semblances come from and things of that nature, because we get Ren kind of giving a bit of a knowledge dump to us, and we get the fighting between and training between RWBY and Oscar, or RWBY and Ozma, actually, if you want to think of it that way. So I think that's a pretty fun episode. It's got a lot packed into it. I love that fight in the beginning, but one of the most touching things to me is this. And I'm showing it to both of you. Hopefully, Michelle's seeing it now, and hopefully I remember to include it. But the reunion between Weiss and Yang, where Weiss jumps into Yang's arms and says she misses her, and Yang actually says she misses her too.
Oh.
That's really good stuff. And the music that's playing in the background, I think it's Home, I think is the name of the song. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. All right, Michelle.
Coming in at number 2.
Coming in at number 2, we have the next two are pretty pivotal. Coming in at number 2, we have Volume 3, Chapter 12.
Is this where...
This is the one, Michelle.
Is this where RWBY and Cinder fight or whatever?
RWBY and Cinder don't... Well...
Pyrrha
and Cinder fight.
And
RWBY and Cinder fight in a way, but RWBY wins because it's almost instantaneous with her silver eyes. But it also ends with the great scenes at home where we see more Tai than we've ever seen before. We see more of Tai Yang. We get Crow telling RWBY about her silver eyes as much as he knows, or that we learn at that point. We get that very heart-wrenching scene between RWBY and Yang, where at first Yang doesn't want to talk to RWBY, and then they go in and she hugs her, but she leaves and says she loves her, but Yang doesn't say it back. Remember all that? Yeah, and then at the very end, we get the transition to Winter, where RWBY's setting off to Haven, and Jean and Nora and Ren join her for the march, right?
Yeah.
So that sets up Volume 4, and we get the voiceover from Salem, who we've never really known who she was at this point. We just knew it was the narrator because she was in Volume 1. Remember, she was narrating with Ozpin. They were narrating back and forth in the beginning. We didn't know who she was, but at this one, we actually see who she is, and she shows up at her home and turns around and says she's gonna love to watch you burn, sort of thing, to Ozpin. And we finally find out that this is a person, this is an actual character who is a bad person in the show, right? So that was a pretty important episode because it really changed.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's very impactful. This is why it's at the top. It's very impactful to the overall story and to the fandom, right? Because so many people just freaked out in this episode because of the loss of Pyrrha and how it ended and so forth.
It never happened.
It never happened. RWBY Chibi. She's in RWBY Chibi land, folks. Nothing bad ever happened, Michelle.
No.
Ever.
Ever.
All right, Michelle.
Coming in at Uno.
Number 1. People might say, wait a minute. 312 is your number 2? What could possibly be your number 1? And some people, I bet you some people are saying, well, it's got to be Players and Pieces, which is Volume 1, Chapter 8. That's the first big battle. It's not. That is an honorable mention. That came in at number 11 on my list. I know. Well, I mean, it's a very important episode as well because that's the big battle, with all the group, fighting in two groups and the two teams and RWBY running up the side of the hill and everything, It was a really good episode, but it just didn't have enough to move it to the top 10 for me, but it was darn close.
Drum roll, please.
So, what would be number 1? Why don't you announce it, Michelle?
That's a lot of words to read.
No, just read the volume, the chapter, and the title.
Wait, where's the volume? Oh.
At the first column.
It's Volume 3, Chapter 11. It's called Heroes and Monsters. Dun, dun,
That's
dun.
right. Volume 3, Chapter 11, Heroes and Monsters. Why is this one slightly higher than 12? Well, if I check my notes, Velvet is one reason.
Katie.
Michelle loves Velvet.
Katie.
Bunny girl. We get to see what her power is in this episode.
Pictures.
Weiss summons for the first time. Well, really summons for the first time. She summoned that tiny little sword fighting the worm accidentally without even realizing it. But she really summons in a moment of panic in this one. We get that great scene. I love the scene before that happens when Weiss is like, Velvet's been beaten down and Weiss is like, and just that music plays. And I love that song. And, I may fall, but, not by your hand or whatever the exactly how the lyrics go. I just love that song. And Weiss screaming in there to try to help and save Velvet. And she does. This is the episode where Yang loses her arm. It's very momentous. It sets up Yang's arcs, as far as we know, through most of the rest of the series that's been out so far, with her dealing with that. and the aftermath of that. It's the Blake versus Adam scene where Adam actually stabs Blake, and she's still got the scar from that.
Yeah.
It's got the Ruby versus Neo fight.
Ice cream.
I know, Ice Cream Girl fight. It's got the death of Roman. Presumed death of Roman, eaten by the Grimm. Everybody's just, believes he is, and until proven otherwise, I guess we have to believe that.
Ironwood, so I said torture.
And torture. Ironwood, cybernetics. We see Ironwood finally in all his cybernetic glory, with his half of his body being mechanical. We have the scene where Cinder kills Amber. Where Jean is supposed to protect, and Pyrrha goes to fight, and Ozpin says, "No, you'll just get in the way. Go summon the rest of the guys," and then we have that standoff between Cinder and Ozpin, where she says, how arrogant, she was right, such arrogance and all that. So we get that set up. So this one to me is just slightly better than Into the Beginning, and it's only slightly better, folks. It's not too much. It could have almost gone either way, but so much more happened in this. Yes. In Into the Beginning, it was really traumatic with Pyrrha's death, and it really did set up the next series, the next season, next volume. But this one just had so much packed into it. It was just so momentous. I had to have it. So many things changed, and so much stuff went on that, to my mind, it just inches above volume 12 or chapter 12. That's the top 10, Michelle.
It sure is.
Do you have any comments about any observations?
No, I agree with everything you said.
Are there any that are not in that you would have put in your top?
Prom, the dance.
The dance? Yeah. We've got the work of Michelle's list was in process. She had never ranked it. But we do see some of the episodes that she had picked.
I like prom, like the dance.
She likes the dance. She likes the team ups.
Yeah.
She likes
I like the ship names.
The ship name episodes. So a lot of Volume 2 stuff is definitely in her list as well. Yeah, there we go. Maybe someday we will get your top 10 list, Michelle, and we can do the same thing with your top 10 list. Maybe. Who knows? Anyway, folks, let us know what you think about our top 10 list. Let us know what your top 10 list is. If you have a video, just post a link to it. If you don't have a video, just put your top 10 in there and tell us why. We'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.